Pixelkin.
So Keep Talking Nobody Explodes is a game where one player is trying to defuse a bomb in VR, while other players have a manual, and they have to guide that person through. So the person in VR doesn't know what they're doing, the people with the manual can't see the bomb. The way it came out was we first started working on it back in January of last year at the Global Game Jam. We brought these DK1s, we thought we want to make a VR game. And we met up with our other developer, Alan Pasaluki, and we all were trying to come up with ideas. And everyone was coming by and they're saying, oh, is that a DK1? We've never seen virtual reality before, can we try this? So we set up a roller coaster demo, and we had everyone coming through, and they were all gathered around the one person doing the demo. And we're looking over and we're thinking, there's all those people doing nothing. Like, why can't we have them doing something together? And so we thought, how could we make a game that could do something like that? And so first we were thinking of ideas like, oh, we could have some kind of network multiplayer with another VR system. And then we're thinking, well, most people don't have two VR headsets kicking around. Okay, so what else can we do? Oh, we could have it network to a PC and have some kind of thing. And we thought, well, that's a lot of setup and a lot of things could go wrong. So finally we thought, okay, is there any way we could do it without any other technology on the one side, like no technology on one side, and of course high technology VR on the other side. And we'd actually just watched an episode of Archer where they're on a blimp trying to defuse this bomb, and they're over the radio to their command center, and it was just all a bunch of communication mishaps. And we thought, that is the game we want to make. So the way the bombs work is that they're each procedurally generated. So every time you start the game, it'll pick a random assortment of puzzle types we have, and then it'll populate those, the state of those randomly. So every time, even with at conferences, we usually show just the first bomb. So it has the same 3 modules picked, but each time it's going to have a different state. So the rules that you have to follow in the manual are going to be different with every playthrough, essentially. Which means that someone watching someone play the first bomb, even though they know what the puzzles are going to be, they don't know how to solve it. So after you get past that, we have scaling levels of difficulty where we introduce harder and harder types of puzzles. So essentially what we want is the first bomb you try to be kind of approachable, but not everyone's going to succeed. And then after that, for it to be extremely difficult, but you'll get it once you learn the ropes. And then finally, we want the game to just be incredibly challenging on the time management side, on the communication side, trying to streamline what you have to say. One thing about the manual, so you saw the first 3, and they have slightly different mechanics, each of them. So, one was basically following sort of a set of rules, just sort of like, and made you look around the bomb a lot. And then the other one had like a 2 parts, and like you had a very simple mechanic, but a lot of, sort of complicated things to look for. The other one was mostly about trying to communicate shapes and and things that there's no real analog for in real life for most of them, so people have to come up with like funny words and hope that the other person is on the same wavelength as them. But as you go into the other puzzles, we've tried to expose a new facet of communication for each one. So every puzzle, when we built it, if it didn't have an interesting communication aspect, we threw it out. There's one where you have to do Morse code. There's one where you have to solve a maze. So every single puzzle has its own very different mechanic from every other puzzle. We didn't want to have too much overlap. In the past, we've definitely seen people come up and they'll come up alone, and then someone else will be alone, and we'll say, oh yeah, pair up. And they'll do that at the beginning of packs, and then they'll come back 3 or 4 times over the course of packs together. These just random people that met in line. And that's actually really awesome. I mean, it's amazing how well 2 strangers can tend to communicate. Sometimes it's a lot better than when you have 2 people that know each other for a long time. And sometimes it's way better than if you have a couple, because, I don't know, they always think they're good communicators, but a lot of times, not so much. So we are actually releasing the game in October on Steam. It's currently available on Gear VR. I mean, we'd love to be the definitive VR party game, essentially. I mean, we love the idea that this is going to be something that people can bring people into VR with. There's definitely sort of a stigma around VR that it's kind of, you have to be kind of a hardcore gamer type person or someone that's like really an enthusiast. But what we've seen with this game is we can bring in all kinds of people who may not have had interest in VR, or they may not have seen the point of it, and they can see like how this kind of game can really benefit from that. I mean, the game will also be playable without VR, but again, there's so many things you can do with the VR. Hopefully you felt that increased attention when you can see your partner. All you can do is hear her disembodied voice. It feels like you're alone, and you have all the responsibilities on you to get that done. And it's something you can't really replicate outside of it. Our goal is, obviously, we want to make the most fun game that people can play for as many playthroughs as possible, and that people have a lot of fun together and maybe improve their communication. But yeah, also be the definitive VR party game.
Got it. Okay. Did we do it?